Morning, all. All right. News of the day video for all you fine people on the internet for your Sunday, January the 26th. Starting at the top of the board, there is a hearing from the game between Tampa Bay and Detroit last night. No, it's not Kucherov, it's Lilleberg. Lilleberg gets a hearing for interference on JT Compher, while a lot of people wanted to see something done about Kucherov sending Rasmussen into the empty net. Lilleberg has the hearing for the interference on Compher last night. So we'll see how many games he gets. All ballpark two, sure, we'll go with that. Borgen. So what's interesting is Borgen was picked up from Seattle by the New York Rangers, and I've seen him on some trade boards, and he has signed an extension with the New York Rangers. So this is always that option, right? You don't always have to trade that rental. It's a 5-year extension for Borgen. The cap hit $4.1 million. So I guess he's made a really good impression on his new employers, and he gets a big extension out of it. So good for Borgen. It does mean that he can come off all the trade boards that might have had him on there, and he's found himself a home. So it might be a mutually beneficial deal here that was done between the Rangers and Seattle. Borgen fitting into what they need. The Rangers have definitely played better lately, so yeah, something's working for them. And this morning they're at home against the Colorado Avalanche. These guys right here. Speaking of the Avs, and nice segue, I guess. Chris McFarland was interviewed by Pierre LeBrun on the Athletic, and says that Nate is having another year at $6.5 million. The fact that Jack Drury is an RFA in 2026 and he doesn't have unrestricted eligibility until 2027, it gives Colorado greater cost certainty and greater control. And that's something they wanted when they traded Rantanen. They didn't want to sell Rantanen. They wanted to make sure that they were getting items back in return that would help the team now and going forward. So the logic stands out, and I think he's right. Also saying that Carolina didn't want to part with Jack Drury, which I would say is very likely also true. But if you're going to pick up a player like Mikko Rantanen, you're probably going to have to give up something that you'd rather not. And this is where Rantanen now with Carolina can show what he can do without Nathan MacKinnon, right? Without playing with McKinnon and Drouin, Makar, and all these players. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this deal ages. Also, the Colorado Avalanche, including McKinnon, clearly gutted by the trading of Mikko Rantanen. I don't think the team saw it coming at all. So that could explain their play yesterday, where they just didn't seem to be quite right. That may very well be what that was. Also, Colorado has had their struggles lately too. So we'll see once Nate just gets used to his new surroundings, and Drury as well, what they're able to put together in Colorado. It should be interesting. Also, McFarland did reveal that while Landeskog's skating and he's still going through the process of rehab, there is no timeline for if or when Landeskog's going to return. So, I mean, that has to be news that we all kind of expected, but it's still a bit of a downer because getting Landeskog back in the lineup for Colorado would be huge if that was a possibility. And it's been years now that they've played without their captain. Also today, Miles Wood activated from injured reserve by the Colorado Avalanche, so getting a little bit healthier with Wood back in the lineup. That's a good bottom six forward for them. So we'll see how he does in his return to the lineup against the New York Rangers. Sean Monahan. So this is sad news. Apparently he had a setback. He's got a wrist injury, and that setback means he'll be out until around mid-March. So 6 to 8 week time frame for him. Monahan, a key player for Columbus that they picked up in the offseason, and hopefully he's back in mid-March. And between now and then, hopefully Columbus solidifies their spot in the playoffs, and we're good to go. It did give Fantilli the chance to step forward and really show what he could do as a top line forward, and Fantilli's passed with flying colors so far. So having Monahan out of the lineup is a chance for others to show what they can do for the organization. Nico Hischier is seen as day-to-day after leaving that game against Montreal early last night. So Hischier very likely not going to be playing, I guess, in their next game. We shall see. Day-to-day is just the most vague terminology because we know from injuries that day-to-day doesn't mean day-to-day, like Pettersson or Demko or Matthews, right? So hopefully this isn't one of those day-to-day situations, and Hischier's back relatively quickly for the New Jersey Devils. Nick Cousins is going to be out for a while after the knee-on-knee hit with Quillen last night, and just saying they collided knees. It was just a collision. There was nothing malicious about it. Both of them got hurt on the play. So with Cousins out of the lineup, it is again a chance for somebody in the organization to step up. Ottawa's had this situation throughout the season, anyways. They should be all right. I have not seen an update yet on John Gibson. He left the game last night with an injury against the Nashville Predators. Dostal went in relief, and Dostal was fantastic. Hopefully Gibson's not out for that long. Keeping in mind with the trade deadline coming up, Gibson maybe not being 100% could affect teams that are looking for a goaltender, right? Gibson could be one of those goaltenders that a team could covet at the deadline this year. And I wanted to round it out by just saying that it is Sunday morning, so it is the annual or the weekly. So why is this team here in the power rankings? I did a whole video last week talking about power rankings and how I go through things and how I decide things and all that fun stuff. So I'm not doing the explanation. And over the years I've learned, even when you explain here's why these teams are where they are, people still go, nah. I'm still mad because no, you're wrong. So there you go. But thank you guys so much for all your support as always. Hit like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Thank you guys so much for all your support, and I will talk to you again soon.